Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou katoa e hui hui mai nei nā. Ki runa i tēnei hale a koutou nei. Tēnā koutou i tūwharehia mai rātou koutou hui i runa i nā tikana o nā tūpuna i whakahio mai rā ki runa i a koutou tēnei rani. Koutou katoa, tangata whenua, kanaka, tēnei rā te mihi o tēnei tuāhine o Aotearoa e hara mai nei ki runa kia koutou. Tēnei anō rā te mihi, taku mihi kia osa me tōna rōpu e manaki nei i ahau i roto i enei rani e rua kai muri ia mātau. Tēnei taku mihi, taku aroha, nui nei a kia koutou katoa ai tēnei rā. Osa. I don't know whether you have Māori queens here, but I feel like one. Osa and his team have done an amazing job of looking after me in these last few days. And, you've got it here. Oh. And I'm so proud and privileged to be here with you today. I thought that I would, your communications man said to me that I had to make it obvious that I want him to turn the slide. So I decided that I would moonwalk across the stage every time I need him to turn the slide. Maybe the swing of my finger will do it. So, kia ora rā koutou. So, ko pūtau aki tōku mauna, ko rangitai ki tōku awa, ko mātāsua tōku waka. Ko Ngāti Awa, ko Ngāi Tūhoi tōku iwi. I am a descendant of Ngāti Awa and Tūhoi. Not people you want to... We're really kind, actually. We're really loving people. But not when it comes to the battlefield. In front of you are my kupuna, my tupuna. My great-great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather and my father. I met three of that generation. I didn't meet the older one of the four. They are the people that I aspire. In fact, I am the entire aspiration of all their dreams. Me and my descendants are their aspirations. I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm a great-grandmother. I have one husband, only one. And as you can see, he's a Pākehā, hails from Belgium, hence the name Lessels. But he's my contribution to the Treaty of Waitangi. You marry into them and you decolonise them bit by bit, one by one. All of my children are definitely Māori, speak Māori, and their father had to learn. My brother is, he and I are the only surviving children in our family of 5. Doesn't look like it. He looks younger than me, but I'm the oldest. And there in the third picture are 16 of my 29 children, descendants. My children, my grandchildren, and my great-granddaughter is in that picture. I'm the principal of a K-12 Māori medium school that has only around 100 children. I got asked when we were at one of the schools yesterday, the secondary school, beautiful school, we got to ask the children some questions, and then they got to ask me some questions, or ask some questions. And when one of them asked me, you've got about 100 students, will you grow them? How will you do that? And are you looking at increasing the roll size? Numbers has never been my game, ever. As a classroom teacher, as a principal, it's not been about numbers for me, it's been about depth. It's been about ensuring that every family that comes to our school is absolutely committed. Committed to the school, committed to the philosophy, committed to the trajectory of the school. And if you have some hesitations, come back when you're not so hesitant. Come back when you're not so hesitant. So there, Osa is the colour of my school. Yes. It is lime green and tangerine. So when we painted the school, I painted the school about 3 or 4 years ago, I asked my board, what colour do you want the school? And I laid out all the colours. 6 weeks the colours sat on the board table, and 6 weeks none of them could make their minds up. So I went to the children and said, what colour do you want to paint the school? Here are the colours. Guess who chose that colour? Yeah, the children. They didn't want a blue or a grey or a building. They wanted a bright orange, a bright lime green and tangerine. So when we painted it, the board said, oh, who chose that colour? I said, the children did. It's their colour, it's their school. They have to be the ones to enjoy its surroundings. Just of late, in December this year, I retired or resigned from the Teaching Council of Aotearoa, New Zealand. But I spent 10 years on that governing council. The Teaching Council is the regulatory body for every teacher in Aotearoa, each early childhood, elementary and secondary school. And I left as their deputy chair. 10 years of assisting the system to provide good guidelines for how we should behave as teachers, the criteria for what makes a successful teacher. And I'm a proud councillor that said the Treaty of Waitangi was right at the top. Every teacher needed to adhere to the Treaty of Waitangi. So every 3 years they get attested. I guess attested is a really strong word, it's not really attested. They get recertified every 3 years. And you must be able to prove in that 3-year period that you have complied with the 6 criteria that makes you what we believe is a good teacher. And at the top was the Treaty of Waitangi. So 140-odd thousand teachers, some of those are not in the profession anymore, needed to be able to show if they wanted to be certificated, they needed to prove in some way or shape or form that they were adhering to those criteria. This year, our government has decided, our minister, and the Teaching Council is a standalone body. It is a non-government body, it is an autonomous body. It does not have to adhere to what the government says. But we have to give regard to it. And this year, the Minister of Education decided that she wanted to tell us how to rewrite the criteria for teachers. She wanted the Treaty of Waitangi moved, and she wanted the criteria to reflect her passion, which was structured literacy and structured maths. Structured maths is not even a word, Osa. She made it up. She just made it up because it sounded good. There is such a thing as structured literacy, and if you know structured literacy, it is an approach to helping children read and write. So she wanted that embedded into the criteria, which wasn't our plan, which wasn't what we believed should happen. So we pushed back on it, and it never got in. It isn't in there now, but we refused to move the Treaty of Waitangi. In fact, the Treaty of Waitangi is the only part of the criteria that we did not touch. We touched the other 5, made it look like and sound like what she wanted, but didn't put in structured literacy, and carried on. I wanted to, Aotearoa, I was saying to her, sitting down there thinking, I got 20 minutes to tell you what I want to tell you about our country. And if I can leave you with anything, if you take nothing else away, the fight and the struggle that you have is across the world. I've just come back from Iceland with our minister, And the struggles and the challenges for teachers are the same across the world. But our particular government is a racist government, and I say that proudly. And I don't mind who's in the room to record me. It is a racist government. We have a coalition government that wants to eliminate any principles or any effect or giving effect to the Treaty of Waitangi from every part of our legislation. So they started with the Treaty's Principles Bill. I was going to tell you this later on. They started with the Treaty's Principles Bill last December. A piece of legislation, a racist piece of legislation that, you know, the one good thing it did, it united us. It took us to a place of anger that we hadn't been for a while. And from the top of the North Island all the way to Wellington, 10 days worth of marching down the main trunk line of New Zealand, collecting people, starting off with about 150 odd people at the top of the North Island and arriving in Wellington with 100,000 people, marching the Wellington street in opposition to this little piece of racist legislation. They opened up the process of the Select Committee to allow us to write submissions. 307,000 submissions were made. The largest amount of submissions made on any bill in the history of New Zealand. 307. 90% of those submissions were in opposition to the bill. Never in the history, in my life, or in the history of New Zealand, have we had such an overwhelming opposition to a piece of legislation. And the country stood up and said no. So when I arrived here the other day, it was the day that the bill was going back to the House for its second reading. And once a bill gets past the second reading, it pretty much is going to be made into law by the third. And at the second reading, I got to watch the debate in the chamber as MP after MP stood up and opposed this legislation. So the legislation was defeated on Wednesday. I was the only one jumping up and down in my room. But I want to tell you, if there's anything that you have and that we have in common, apart from the challenges that we face, we have the ability to organise. We have ability to mobilise. And we have ability to shift that organisation and that mobilisation to the people that we believe are going to be greatly affected by whatever it is, whatever piece of legislation that's happening. So NZEI Te Reo were instrumental in setting up opposition and mobilising people against this bill. So I wanted to tell you a bit about this. Oh, there it is there. Our government. I'm not going to talk to you about it, but that's just some fun facts about our government in Aotearoa now. We currently have a coalition government that is right-wing, far right. We have three parties that are in government at the moment. Two of them are minor parties and one major party. But at the moment, it really, and I was telling also this the other day, it really feels like the tail is wagging the dog in New Zealand when it comes to the coalition parties. One of the parties, you know, a good thing about this party, this minor party, they're really open about their racism. They really are. They're really open about it. They're just upfront about it. And so we know who the enemy is, and we know, yep, those are the ones that we need to be able to mobilise against. They're not just open and racist against Māori. They're that with the education system. They don't believe that we need an education. They don't believe teachers do a sterling job of what they do. They believe teachers, they said they hate unions. In fact, I met with the leader of that party towards the end of last year, and he verbally told me and my national secretary why he hates unions. At that stage, he didn't know that I was still a principal of a school. I hadn't quite become the president. And voiced that none of us were teachers. You know, you're not teachers, you're working there, you're getting paid to do a job, and that's all you do. And I suddenly thought, he don't know I'm a principal of a school, I've been teaching. He knows me now and he's chosen not to meet with me. That's all right, I don't mind. We can work around it, but he's also the minister that's in charge of our school lunches. And he's in charge, and if you look, please Google New Zealand school lunches. It's a bit of a fiasco at the moment. But I've called the minister, his boss, the minister, to have him removed as the Minister of Lunches and for her to take it over and do better and do right by our children. NZEI Te Rīroa, 50,000, just over 50,000 members. Also I told you, I lied to you the other day. I told you that we only have 7 collective agreements. We don't. I went back to make sure also. We have 29 collective agreements. We have 29 collective agreements in NZEI Te Rīroa. I'll tell you what they are in a minute. I wanted to show you this picture. The one on the left is the first national executive in 1883. Can you see any women? Can you see any Māori? None. And the one on the right is this national executive now. The one on the left is taken outside a monument, a colonial monument, colonist monument in 1883. The one on the right is taken out in front of one of our traditional meeting houses, marae. We went there to do that's where I had my pōhiri into the job. And so we had our photos as a national executive, te reo areare. We call ourselves Te Kahukiwi, two bodies together outside our tipuna whare. That's us. And there are only 6 men. Six men and 23 women. NZEI Te Rīroa traditionally modelled, followed a Westminster model of governance. We had a national executive that did things here. They made all the rules. We didn't get out. I think it's 142 years that we celebrate being a union. It was only in 1995 we got our first Māori president. In 1995. Shameful, really. And then we had 3 others after that, and then we got me. I was vice president for the last 2 years, but my immediate executive that sit at my table are all Māori. There are 6 of us. There are 6 of us, 5 of us are fluent speakers of Te Reo Māori. 2 native, 3 fluent, and our outgoing president, while he is Māori, doesn't speak Māori. Lovely man though. So this was our setup, how we used to do it. And we used to say in Te Reo Areare, which was the Māori pathway, never mind, let them do what they're doing over there and we'll just do what we do over here, and never the twain should meet. And if we didn't meet, we'll be kind. We'll be kind. But over the last few years, that model has begun to change. And 3 years ago when I became the vice president, I put a resolution to the floor. Well, actually, I got someone else to do it because it was easier if it came from the floor rather than the top table, to put a resolution to the floor that we review the governance model that NZEI has been operating in for 140 years. And so this year is the culmination of that review. And this October, we will present the review, which includes constitutional changes to the membership. It's been a long journey to do that. It's been a lot of talking to ourselves. Our own people had to re-indigenize themselves. You know, lovely Māori, speak Māori, but thought coloniser. And now they're beginning to realise that you're worth speaking. You're worth talking. You're valued, not just as a teacher, but you're valued because of who your tipuna, kupuna were. And there they go, the collective agreements. We have 18 ECE collective agreements, 3 learning support agreements. Those learning support agreements are with teachers who work for our ministry, but are actually practitioners in the field, but they're employed directly by the ministry. All the other teachers in New Zealand are employed by their governing boards. We have 4 school support agreements. We have 2 school teacher agreements, one for primary school, one for area school. I think they're called combination schools here. And we have 2 for primary principals and combination school principals. Those are the 29 agreements that we have. And most of them, actually nearly all of them, will be up by February next year. We've only settled, the kindergarten one is the only one that we've been able to settle. The rest of them, this government is giving us a headache over the rest of them. This, I wanted to show you, this is the lunches in New Zealand. Appetising, you think? We asked the minister, the Associate Minister of Education, would he like to have one of these lunches? Personally, got taken to the house and said, would you like to have one of these lunches? Yeah, he didn't eat the lunch, but he did complain that we had taken somebody's lunch from them. Yeah. So this, I think, is something that NZEI has just pushed back on and said, no, our children, this can't happen for our children. And we've done this. We have made his life hell. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons that he won't meet with me. Apart from that, we don't like each other. But I can always, I need to be kind, because there may be a time that I do need him. I don't think I'll need him. I might need the Minister of Education, but not the Associate Minister. And this is the Treaty Principles Bill that took us. I wanted to talk about this bill because NZEI partnered with our trade unions and our Council of Trade Unions. We also partnered with an outside organisation called Toitu Te Tiriti to organise and to mobilise our people across the country during this march. And, sometimes being brave is not standing up against a minister and telling him what we think he should know. Being brave is often just walking beside somebody because you feel like you need to be in that space to be able to say, yep, okay, I don't agree with this. You don't actually have to talk, but sometimes being brave is being the simplest things. And can I tell you, as the 100,000, because I was in that walk, it took me 2.5, nearly 3 hours to walk a piece of road that I could walk in 10 minutes. I walked down that road to go to work, but that particular day, it took forever to get down. That's how many people there were. But on my way down that road to Parliament House, on the sides of the roads were every ethnicity, providing water, providing food, providing coffee, providing tea, providing seats to have a rest to everybody, every ethnicity. It just sent my heart into a place I'd not been for a long, long time when I saw New Zealand come out in support. I said also that I wanted to show him some of the photos I had also of the ministers, the silent protest we made at the ministers when the minister came to see us, of the myriad of signs. And our minister does grace us with coming to our annual meeting. We've not yet had a minister say probably are really afraid if they said no. That wouldn't go down too well with the people that they're supposed to be having a relationship with, teachers. And we had a silent protest at the last annual meeting because she just got harangued by principals in another town. We didn't want to harangue her the same way. So we did a silent protest You write what you want to say on a piece of paper, and every time she mentions it, you show her your piece of paper with whatever you want to say. And that's what we did. I can't remember, I think there's about 500 odd people in the room, somewhere around there, with signs telling her how they felt. NZEI marching down the road of New Zealand during the march. I'm just waiting for the cue from, oh, he's waiting for me. Yeah. The last thing I want to say is do what we are good at doing, organising. Unions are really good at organising, getting us together to do the things that we need to do. Be proud of being able to come together with like minds, with a focus. Speak up and speak out about everything that will impact you as a teacher. Don't be afraid to speak out. We've had teachers that have been jailed. Well, no, that's not true. They actually weren't really jailed, they were just arrested. Arrested and jailed in New Zealand is a wee bit different. Arrested, you get taken away in the police car and get processed for the cell and then let go. Being jailed is you actually go behind bars. So we've had teachers arrested. And the last thing is you are much, much stronger together than you are apart. And you have a wonderful way of, you've brought yourselves in from all of the outer islands to Oahu to be here. Can I just leave you with that? You are stronger together. Thank you also.